It is the 15th of August 2020. Many thanks for staying with us here on TV 47. These are some of the stories making headlines tonight.
Ahead on TV 47 Weekend. Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka dismisses claims of lobbying to have Monday's special sitting aborted, insisting the House must reach a consensus on revenue sharing formula. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka insists he is on the race for the 2022 presidency as ANC denies plans of working with Deputy President William Ruto. Plus, doctors decry neglect of healthcare workers and lack of enough PPEs amid the coronavirus pandemic. And tonight we show you why the night curfew could just be a law on paper in the Nairobi metropolitan region.
A very warm welcome on our Saturday night news. My name is Mombichege. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Faith Chaptile. Now, Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka says he has not received any formal complaint from senators who alleged that they have been intimidated for their on that basis on revenue sharing. Now, the speaker rubbished claims that he is lobbying to have Monday's special sitting adjourned. He spoke to Elizabeth Mutuku.
I have ordered that we reconvene on Thursday to look at the two amendments and to make a voting on the main. That is also part of language. People at least understood what I said. Yeah.
The Senate is headed to a 9th sitting on Monday in an attempt to unlock the protracted revenue share stalemate amidst claims of intimidation and threats on some senators. But Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka says he's not formally received any formal complaint from the said senators.
I cannot talk on behalf of any senator because it's their colleague, so they are the ones who are operating at that level. But as from where I sit, I have not had any complaint to me as a speaker of any intimidation by any other senator towards another senator.
In an interview with TV 47, Lusaka refuted claims from some of senators on social media that he was lobbying Minority Leader James Orengo to have Monday's special sitting adjourned. The speaker insists he is for the House to unlock the stalemate on Monday.
Let me tell you, if there's anybody who wants this business concluded, it's myself. Remember, we are even on recess, and our recess has even been interfered with because of this revenue thing. And in any case, you see, I'm just a referee. I'm the speaker. The people who vote are senators. People who debate the revenue bill are senators. So it's up to them to, and you see, I cannot predict whether there will be an adjournment or not. That comes on the floor of the House. It is moved by a senator and seconded and then voted for. So I can't say it will be there or it will not be there. If it comes, it will be handled just the normal way adjournments are handled. But it's my prayer that this matter is put to rest and concluded.
Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala blamed the House leadership for the ongoing stalemate, accusing it for not opening up for negotiations, claims that Lusaka has rubbished.
Let Senator Orengo, Senator Pogisho, open up channels for negotiations with other senators. This matter can only be addressed amicably if we have people talking, if we have senators engaging in some formal way. But what they are doing, they are calling one senator at a time and trying to lobby them to vote otherwise without giving them reason and without ceding ground.
2 weeks ago, I formed a committee. I told each side to bring a committee so that they try to reach a consensus. One side brought the members, the other side did not bring members. There's nothing I can do beyond that, really, so that I don't get dragged into the matter. So it's really up to them to discuss, to get a consensus. But you see, the business of the House is normally voted for.
The Senate on Monday is expected to debate and vote in the amendments by various senators, including the Budget and Finance Committee report. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV 47 Nairobi.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta has sent all members of the cabinet on a 14-day working leave starting on Monday. Now, the leave comes amid speculations about a looming cabinet reshuffle in keeping with the handshake and other alliances that President Uhuru Kenyatta has made in recent months.
Starting Monday next week, all members of the cabinet will be on a 14-day working leave. According to a memo by the head of public service and secretary to the cabinet, Joseph Kinyua, cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, chief administrative secretaries, and the attorney general will only attend to national emergencies during this period. The 14 days working leave communique says the leave is meant to give the senior executive officers time to rest.
So as we prepare ourselves to start the official.
However, reports have it that the move could be the beginning of a cabinet reshuffle to accommodate allies of President Kenyatta's newfound alliances. It is also rumored that President Kenyatta is in a race to build cohesion in his core team to enable him achieve his legacy projects. The last cabinet reshuffle was held in January this year. In that reshuffle, former Laikipia MP Mwangi Kiunjuri was dropped from the Agriculture Ministry and replaced with pioneer Meru Governor Peter Munya. Kiunjuri was, before his ouster, an ardent supporter of Deputy President William Ruto, who is not very welcoming of the March 2018 handshake between his boss and the ODM leader Raila Odinga.
I, Mutahi Kagwe, having been appointed a cabinet secretary.
During the January reshuffle, Mutahi Kagwe and Betty Maina joined the cabinet as health and industrialization cabinet secretaries respectively. And less than 2 months later, Kagwe was thrust into the limelight by the COVID-19 pandemic, probably the toughest duty he shall deal with in his tenure as health CS. Health is among President Kenyatta's Big Four agenda, and that docket has greatly been impeded by the pandemic that has seen many projects stall as energies are focused on fighting off the virus. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has confirmed that he will be on the ballot in the 2020 general elections. Kalonzo Musyoka says Wiper party is open to coalition agreements with other parties that have similar ideologies. This happens as KANU party kickstarts efforts to rejuvenate the party's prominence in preparation for 2022. Elilo Gova with the details.
With less than 2 years left to the next general elections, political parties and leaders are realigning themselves in preparations for the election. Latest sentiments emerging from Wiper Democratic Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who has reiterated his bid to fly the party's flag come 2022. Wiper is further open to negotiations with other like-minded parties and political leaders.
Fairness is good that I give that assurance that this is not a matter that is negotiable. Whether or not Wiper will have a presidential candidate is a given. And so nobody should sleep with any doubt.
Elsewhere, KANU leaders in Nakuru County have embarked on rejuvenating the party's prominence by registering new members in a bid to strengthen the party in North Rift region that is predominantly a Jubilee turf. However, the ride may not be smooth for KANU as uncertainty lingers in the party after Emurua Dikir MP Joanna Ngeno and Joshua Kutuny of Cheranganyi launched scathing attacks on party's leadership. The two are considered close allies of Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, whom KANU leaders have preferred to William Ruto as the best candidate to take over from President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2022.
We in the Nakuru branch, we want to launch officially a recruitment exercise, which was launched by our national chairman. You are aware of that. So we want also to launch our recruitment movement as from today in our branch.
A similar wave of realignment is evident in ANC party, where a section of leaders have strongly denied claims that party leader Musalia Mudavadi is planning an alliance with the Deputy President William Ruto. The claims coming barely a week after ANC Party Secretary General Barack Muluka resigned and Eliud Owalo, another strong member of ANC, ditched the Musalia Mudavadi-led party.
And let me tell you, and let me be very categorical. There is no way, the only way Musalia will work with Ruto is if Ruto is voting for him. Nothing else and totally nothing else. I would rather resign. And I'm one of the people who are too rigid on Musalia working with Deputy Ruto. The only way I can give Musalia to work with Deputy Ruto if he's coming to support him.
There have been claims of Deputy President William Ruto's hand in the ongoing changes in ANC party. Musalia Mudavadi has been insisting he too will be on the ballot in 2022. Eli Logova, TV47.
Still on politics, supremacy battles pitting Kiambu County MCAs and Assembly Speaker Stephen Ndishu persist. Governor James Nyoro now says there is no room for any impeachments in the county and the members of the county assembly should stop unnecessary politicking. Instead, the governor told the MCAs to concentrate on service delivery for the remaining 2 years.
While defending the Assembly Speaker, who is his key ally and whose impeachment process has started, Governor Nyoro said that while the Speaker is not perfect, the MCAs ought to have adopted better ways of resolving the issues raised. At the center of Ndichu's dethronement are accusations of abuse of office, nepotism, among others. The ouster motion has been tabled at the County Assembly by Kiu Ward Rep Dan Ngugi.
But I want to say this. There is no room for any impeachment in Kiambu County. We have less than 2 years remaining. Tarehe 8 mwezi wa 8 2022 tutakuwa tumeenda uchaguzi. Leo ni tarehe 10 na ngapi? 15. Kwa hivyo tumebakia less than 2 years. 2 years tutaenda kutafuta maspika au tutaendelea na maendeleo.
Speaking while receiving food donations from Visa Oswald, the Thika Indian Community and Thika District Business Association, Governor Nyoro insisted that there is a lot of work to do in terms of infrastructural development, feeding hunger-stricken residents, and empowerment of the people, which cannot be achieved amid supremacy battles among leaders.
Forget about this impeachment thing. And I want to urge our county assembly na tutaongea na hawa. Leo nimepigiwa simu na kama 12 na wameniambia hiyo maneno wanavurutwa ndani na wamekataa.
Nyoro further accused the section of MCAs of using fake signatures to push the motion that he said was maliciously sponsored to disrepute the speaker. His sentiments were echoed by Kamenu Ward MCA Raphael Chege, who also promised to overlook the motion to allow Speaker Ndichu complete his 5-year term.
Speaker yuko pale to stay na speaker yuko pale kuendelea na bunge letu la Kiambu. Hiyo tumemaliza hiyo. Sisi ni kitu ambacho tumemaliza, ule anaongea peke yake.
Bimal Shah, who is a member of Kiambu COVID-19 Response Committee, said they have collected 182 million shillings and they are targeting the most vulnerable families. During the event, over 500 families were given food rations that will last them for 3 months, donations that were made under the Adopt a Village program. Nancy Kimuyu, TV47.
Wrangles between health workers and the Ministry of Health continue as the Kenya Medical Practitioners KMPDU issue a 7-day strike notice should their demands not be met. This is as the number of COVID-19 cases rises to 29,849 after 515 more people tested positive for the virus in the last 24 hours. Zainab Mohammed with the details.
Over 150 days since the first case of COVID-19 was reported in the country, frontline healthcare workers have continued to feel the most heat from the effects of the pandemic. And despite their constant pleas to the Ministry of Health on the many challenges facing them, things are seemingly getting worse. Doctors in Nairobi County have issued a 7-day strike notice.
the fact that people are able to talk about issues and just...
In an exclusive interview with TV47, Dr. Dennis Misekelia, Acting Secretary General, Kenya Medical Practitioners Union, KMPDU, says the strike is on if their demands are not met, adding that the strike might be extended to the entire country if their pleas continue to fall on deaf ears.
Now, Nairobi County is under the highest number of COVID cases. Yeah, I hope that the government will not allow the 7 days notice to elapse before they step up, because it will break my heart if we lose patients because of preventable issues.
According to the Ministry of Health, PPEs are continually being distributed to healthcare workers across the country, something Dr. Dennis strongly refutes, saying a lot of promises by the ministry are plans that have not been implemented 5 months into the pandemic.
And the saddest thing about the PPE is that sometimes they will supply substandard PPEs. Yes? And there's nothing more inhumane than that. You'd rather not even give me a PPE. I know that there's no PPE in that hospital. I buy my own and I go with it. Than give me a substandard PPE that I will wear, knowing that I'm protected until a COVID patient turns in and turns out positive. It's like taking a soldier to the front line and then you give them a gun, a toy gun. They believe that they have a gun that will function when the enemy comes. Only for the time to fire to come, the gun has failed.
Dennis further says healthcare workers in Nairobi County have been rendered helpless, caught up in between political wrangles, while remaining unpaid since the month of July.
Every time the politicians disagree, the person who suffers the most is the healthcare worker. Right now you are seeing the senators fighting over the allocations of the country revenue. But we're like, why should that fight get to a point that even we are now into August and we are not being paid our July salaries? Yeah? When I leave my family home as I go to work for this nation, all they deserve just to have peace of mind, food on the table. But I can't be worrying about the patient, worrying about my safety, worrying about my family's safety, and still worrying about my rent. It's not fair.
This is as the number of COVID-19 cases in the country rises to 29,849 cases after 515 more people tested positive for the virus in the last 24 hours.
He leads with 251. Kitui comes in second today with 41. Kiambu 33. Kericho 23. Kisii 19. Bomet 19. Nakuru 18. Homa Bay 16. Laikipia 12.
672 people have recovered after receiving treatment from various hospitals across the country, as 7 more people succumbed to the virus. For TV47, I'm Zainab Mohammed.
Thank you, Zainab, for that report. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with much more, including our special report Beyond Curfew Hours with our very own David Mudoka. Stay with us.
To receive breaking news alerts, SMS the word news to 20376.
When it comes to pimple care, Acne's Creamy Wash contains multiple vitamins and removes excessive oil and dirt. Acne's Toner rejuvenates skin. Acne's Sealing Gel fights bacteria. Use Mentholatum Acne's for clear and smooth skin every day.
Gol moja. Gol mbili.
Arsenali baby wangu. Si unajua nakupenda.
Najua unanipenda baby.
Lakini Arsenali, si unapenda kuniangusha?
Nilikuangushaje vipi?
Si juzi nilisikia uliolewa na Man U.
Man U hawajaini oa, Man U ni ushetani, mwekundu anakuwaga tu nayo.
Lakini baby nikuulize, na huyu demu wa blue?
Demu gani?
Huyu mwenye anapenda kuchange ma sponsor?
Gani?
Chelsea. Lakini Arsenali, mnaleta kikombe lini?
Kikombe si ya maana kama ile upendo mimi na wewe tuko nayo baby.
To get this tune, type skiza.
Welcome back. Now, as Kenya struggles to curb the spread of COVID-19, attention seems to have been channeled to COVID-19 patients. Now, a majority of pregnant women have found themselves in a twisted predicament, as most of them are unable to access prenatal health care, which is mandatory for their own health, safety, and that of their unborn child.
Since the outbreak of the coronavirus, pregnant women in the country have been torn on whether to visit hospitals for prenatal care or not. More so, some of them are unable to access medical facilities, with some hospitals turning them away.
Unajua niko na wasiwasi kwa sababu sijui kama itakuja uchungu itakuja usiku ama mchana, tujui venye tutashughulikiwa juu kama saizi hata sapunini kuenda usiku huwezi pata nini ya kuenda nini za kuenda hospitali. So tujui leo niko na wasiwasi pia. Ndio sijui itakuwa aje kutoka hapo. Kutoka corona ianze, services zimekuwa ziko chini sana pale kwa Dio. Kwa sababu nilienda hapo nilikuwa na clinic last month date 20, lakini nilienda nikafika hapo nikapata wakaniambia our services hakuna sasa hii kwa sababu hiyo corona wanasema hakuna vitu kwa clinic za kushughulikia watu. Wakasema tunaweza rudi wakati corona ikiisha, ama mtu akitaka pengine kama uko na shida, kama uko na ugonjwa ndio unaweza rudi kwenda kuona kwa usiku.
Charles Mwangi Waituru, the policy and advocacy advisor for VSO, agonizes that COVID-19 has greatly affected the provision of sexual reproductive health care services in the country.
Many facilities have closed down and mothers are not able to go for antenatal services. Those who require dialysis also are not able to access these facilities. Sexual reproductive health services are also curtailed, and therefore there's a lot of suffering. And as we have learned from the cases of Ebola in Sierra Leone, there are more people who died out of lack of access to services than those who died out of Ebola itself. And therefore, it is critical that a way is found to continue with the provision of critical services. Those who require dialysis can access dialysis, and those who require rearrangement of the way services are provided.
However, while acknowledging the challenges facing most health facilities due to the pandemic, Health Services Director, Nairobi Metropolitan Services, Dr. Josephine Kibarumbai, has insisted that antenatal services are still ongoing in public hospitals.
Yeah, we want to urge the women to continue coming to our health facilities for antenatal care and for delivery and skilled attendance, because as we know, women die from complications which cannot very readily be managed in the homes or under traditional birth attendants or other people who are taking care of them, because the commonest cause of women dying in childbirth is bleeding, and that can only be handled by skilled professionals. That's why we would still urge our women, despite the situation, come to our facilities. Our health workers are there, our midwives, our doctors, so that you can deliver safely.
The COVID-19 has paralyzed many health services nationally due to a shortage of human resources for health, and this has had a direct effect on the reproductive and maternal health services. Drama ensued at Kerita village in Kesses constituency, Uasin Gishu County, after members of one family attempted to evict a widow following a land dispute after her husband died 8 years ago. Police officers from Kesses sub-county had to intervene and arrest some relatives of her late husband, who she claims have been torturing her since her husband died.
Jael Chebet, a mother of two who is now living in fear, says there have been persistent efforts to evict her from her matrimonial home.
After mse ake nikanyang'anywa vitu yote. Tarehe 6 walikuja kupoma mali na kamua na mali pa kuoshea na kuninyang'anya miti na kila kitu.
She blames her in-laws for destroying her property, including the only 8 cows she had.
Wanataka kunifukuza. Walinipea deadline nitoke tarehe 7. So naomba serikali wanisaidie. Sina amani kabisa. Hata naona security yangu sitatopoa.
But her in-laws, led by John Muluo, a brother to the deceased husband of Chebet, while denying the allegations, said they had not given her any deadline to leave, and none of them had forcefully taken away her property.
Tulipokaa chini, tulikuta ya kwamba ameanza kuuza vitu pole. Tulikuta ng'ombe moja, aliuza ng'ombe na ikapita msituni. Akauza kondo na ikapita msituni.
Muluo said all family members had agreed to come together to subdivide their land because succession of entire piece of land left by their late father had not been done, which they feel Chebet is opposed to.
Ambia yeye, by tarehe 7, uende utafute wajomba, tukuje tuongee kama familia ya huko na huko. Atujaambie tunakufukuza, enda lete familia.
He said they only stopped her from selling the cows because they were not a property left behind by her late husband, but by their late father. Muluo said their father left the cows in the care of his brother, who is Chebet's husband. Another similar dispute was witnessed in Ainabkoi constituency, where a widow, Agnes Mayo, alleged to be undergoing threats from her in-laws.
Na hata mgeni akifika hakuna mahali pa kufikia, ni kudiscuss tu kama vile mnaona.
Human rights activists have come out strongly to condemn the incidents, as they appealed to the county administration officers to protect vulnerable people in the community, especially widows and orphaned children.
So we are appealing to the government to be serious on this issue of widows.
Many widows are easy prey for relatives hell-bent of cutting away property left by their deceased kin. Land is often the main bone of contention. Calvin Chitwa, TV47, Uasin Gishu County.
Thank you, Calvin, for that report. Thank you for staying with us. Let's take another short break. We'll be back in just a moment. welcome back and on to our special report tonight. Now, the advent of COVID-19 disease saw the government introduce containment measures to prevent the spread of the would-be pandemic. Among the measures is the dusk to dawn curfew that restricts movement of Kenyans between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m., having metamorphosized from the original 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew. 4 months on, the efficiency in the enforcement and adherence to the curfew remains questionable in various parts of the country. A spot check by TV47 crew in 3 counties in the country reveals how Kenyans have been flouting curfew rules. In the special report Beyond Curfew Hours, our reporter David Mudhoka reveals how curfew is just another rule, only on paper.
It's exactly 9 p.m. at night. We are just about to set out on a mission to discover and unravel the behavior of most Kenyans past curfew hours. We do not know what we will find, but just like any man on a mission, we are prepared for what come may. Monday, 9:39 p.m. in Buruburu Estate, Nairobi County. It is 39 minutes into the daily countrywide dusk to dawn curfew, but the traffic here is something else. On the other hand, shops remain open, and this particular shopper has time to assess, choose and bargain the price of this bell pepper nonchalantly with the vegetable shop vendor. We shift focus to the nearby Dandora Estate. It is now 9:15 p.m. On the way, we come across heavy traffic going into the opposite direction, but that is not the only appalling thing we discover. These 2 men in white coats are not done with their mutura business, and from the look of things, they do not seem in a hurry to do so, perhaps due to the fact that customers are imminently streaming in to have a taste of the mutura delicacy. It is now 10 p.m. and our next stop is at Kariobangi Estate. A variety of shops here remain wide open, save for this particular one, where the shopkeeper, who arguably is the first to close shop, albeit at chameleon speed. In Kayole Estate, people are walking home haphazardly in full disregard of curfew rules. Others even have time to catch up, and a few seconds later, this matatu in full glaring lights overtakes us, and from the incessant flashes of its backlights, it is trying to attract more passengers. 10:27 p.m., an hour and 27 minutes into the curfew, and business is still booming in Umoja Estate. Again, nobody here is in a hurry to get home. Day 2, Tuesday, 18 minutes past 9 p.m. We are part and parcel of this heavy snarl-up along the Thika superhighway. On normal occasions, security officials man this highway at this Garden City area, but today they are a no-show, perhaps on half-time. We head for Githurai 45 area, where we stumble upon this huge group of boda riders, literally unmoved by the start of the curfew. More shockers await, and as we slither through this murky market in Kiambu County, this tuk-tuk operator, a few meters from the conspicuous underpass in Githurai, has time to tease a potential customer. Again, no police officer is in sight to enforce the curfew rules, and the residents are using that to their absolute advantage. Business is booming, rush hour seemingly alien here. It's 10:07 p.m. This is Githurai 45 area in Kiambu County. It's barely an hour and 7 minutes into the curfew, but still, this is an area buzzing with activity. The buzz does not seem to end anytime soon, and it is time to lay siege in another part of this vast county. It is 10:30 p.m. when we hit the ground running again, and here we spot this 14-seater matatu picking and dropping passengers. Upon arrival at the Ruiru bypass, we are met by the trademark stagger of residents walking home. From the look of things, he seems to have had one too many, leaving behind this trail of cat-chewing revelers in this joint who are in no hurry. On the other side of the road, this shopkeeper whose shop is wide open appears to be making a killing from selling his goods to the motorists who pass by. On our return back to the city, we make one more stop at Kahawa Sukari.
4 minutes past 11 p.m. This is 2 hours, 4 minutes into the curfew. Now we've deliberately delayed here just to notice the behavior of people. This is Kahawa Sukari Estate. This is Kiambu County. Now a few meters from here is a place where there are borders. And you'll wonder, one question that stands out is, who are they waiting for? Will they even be able to get customers? And during our stay, we've seen a number of them move in, move out, and that shows there is activity still here.
Day 3, we head out to Kajiado County, and what better place to lay siege than the metropolitan Ongata Rongai town. At 9:01 p.m., we are still unable to access the diaspora town, primarily because of the infamous perennial traffic along this road. It is 9:15 when we lay sight on Rongai. Shops, butcheries and chemists are open, with people walking casually by the roadside, and there is more. It is drizzling here. The curfew has already begun. You would imagine that either event would elicit a rush home, but no one is ready to call it a day. Even this car wash operator is hell-bent on cashing in an extra dime from this motorbike. He notices us, but he does not look derailed. In the nearby Kiserian town, police officers are having an unhappy task enforcing curfew. Well, at least there are security officials here, the first we spot since we began our rounds beyond curfew hours. The rest of the area is a ghost town, save for this place where local police are manning a roadblock. Some motorists caught on the wrong side of the law have already resigned to fate, with others clutching at straws in trying to justify their lateness to these police officers.
Hata sijaichelewa tangu ianze. Hapana, hatutasumbuana mkubwa.
But 4 months since the rules were introduced by the government as a measure to arrest the spread of the COVID-19 disease, they arguably remain just rules on paper. Their implementation dotted by a variety of factors. This as COVID-19 infections in the country continue to soar. On Friday, the country had recorded over 29,000 infections. But who is to blame for the failed implementation? Is it the police officers or members of the public? In recent times, the government has appeared to have shifted the stay safe responsibility to an individual responsibility, a transition that clearly does not seem to be working. David Buthoka, TV47.
Interesting times we're living in. Thank you so much for that report, David Mudoka. And we'd like to get your views on that report. You can talk to us on Facebook, TV47 Kenya, and on Twitter at TV47KE. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with the sports news in just a moment. welcome back. Let's get to the sports news now. Kenyan Premier League side Wazito FC have snapped up experience